All right, this is my last Blade Show West of 2024 knife to talk about. Everything else that I picked up at the show was given at the show, borrowed from the show, you name it. I've already done videos on, and I saved the best for last. No offense to the others, but this is one that I purchased for myself from Darren Thomas Knives, and this is the Raku. And here is some information about it. What's cool is it's kind of an aluminum certificate of authenticity that is dye sublimation printed, that Darren Thomas's son puts together. So it's kind of a family affair. You got father who built the knife. You have identical twin brother who made the blade for the knife, Devin Thomas. And then you have his son who made the certificate of authenticity. And I am drawing a blank at his son's name, even though I met him at the show and we talked. So I apologize for that. Please forgive me. So what do we have here? We have the Raku, as you saw on the certificate of authenticity. Let's just fire the blade out right away because some people have commented that I ramble too much before I open the blade, and all they want to see is the blade, and then they probably click off. So, I don't do it intentionally. There's not a method to my madness. I don't try to create longer views by dragging stuff out. That's just not how I work. But I bought this for myself. Last year at Blade Show West 2023, my good friend Eric, Blades and Bullets on Instagram, he bought one that was a Magna Cut blade, and it was crazy carbon fiber, they called it. And I really liked it. And I handled one of the other ones that Darren had at the show, and I was close to buying it. But I just, timing for me is sometimes an issue, right? There's a lot of knives I like. There's a lot of knives I want to own. Unfortunately, there's also a lot of watches that I like and a lot of watches that I like to own. And Blade Show last year, I was, just bought my house, right? Because Blade Show West was in October-ish, and I had just bought my house in July. So timing to buy a knife wasn't just in the cards. So I kind of kept in touch with Darren throughout the year. And he had 4 knives that he brought to Blade Show West this year. And I handled all of them. I spent a lot of time because all 4 of them had a little bit different actions because he was working with different bearings and different springs for the button lock. Some lighter, some stronger, different bearing sizes. I don't know all the technical spots of what he was doing, but they were different. All 4 of them had a little bit different action configuration. So I narrowed it down to this one and one other one that had a, is it my Carta scales? It's the one my other friend Blake bought. So I narrowed it down to those 2, and I picked this one because this fat carbon Mars Valley, I really like. I have it on my RJ Martin Q36SS, which is one of the knives I love in my collection. And I did a video a while back now, talking about what knife would I keep if I had to get rid of all of my knives and I could only keep one knife that I currently owned. Out of all the knives I own, this is the one that if I had to keep only one knife, I would have kept this one. Is that still true with the acquisition of this? I think I already had the King Battle at that time too. And I won't spoil it, but if you want to go watch that video, I'll link it at the end of this video. But this is not the most practical blade for just daily carry. I narrowed it down that this is a much more practical daily carry. And this one is in Magna Cut, so it's going to stay sharp for a long time and is thin and easy to carry. So that being said, I am on day 305 of carrying the King Battle right now. So while I bought this, at Blade Show West. I have not carried it. I've carried it around the house. I know it works great in and out of the pocket, and I absolutely love it. And I'm not a button lock guy, although this one doesn't feel like a button lock. Like the action is so crisp. The detent is perfect on this one. I wouldn't change a thing on the action. I would change a little thing on the pocket clip, and Darren and I talked about that at length at the show, and it's something that he's looking into. So we'll talk about that in a second. Let's go through some of the specs. It's 4 and 9/16, so just a hair over 4.5 inches. Okay, 8 inches overall with a 3.4-inch blade, 0.011 behind the edge, 0.017. So it starts out kind of thin, and it gets even thinner. As I mentioned, Devin Thomas made the blade steel, which is Darren Thomas's identical twin brother. So this is a stainless steel raindrop Damascus pattern. The whole knife weighs in at 3.8 ounces, just a hair over 1/2 inch thick overall, G10 backspacer. I love everything about it except the screws on the pocket clip. So if we zoom in here, he drills all the way through. The hardware comes in from the back into the pocket clip, and the pocket clip is threaded. It works. I like the cutout that he does for the pocket clip here in the carbon fiber scale. It works wonderfully in the pocket, and I have no complaints. Aesthetically, I wish these were more blind screwed, so you didn't see this. You just saw the titanium over the screw head, or at the end of the screw. Okay? Other than that, I think it's a fantastic knife. The other thing that Darren and I talked about was potentially using the same blade steel for the pocket clip. It would have to be much thicker to be able to mill this out as an option. And then I said maybe a blade steel inlay of the button, because this is all kind of dark. You know, it's got black hardware, got the black blade, the red and black scales, and then you've got this silver button and this silver pocket clip. So it does stand out a little bit. Even a darkened titanium pocket clip might blend in better. But having the silver button and the silver clip, it does kind of match in that regard. So if you're going to do something with the pocket clip, you'd kind of have to do something with the button and vice versa. But leaving one just raw titanium type, you have to leave them both, right? It just works. And he agreed that he has been thinking about the screws and changing the way that is. So I'm not the first person to say it. I've said it to his face, so I'm not talking behind his back. I'm very open with the makers. And Darren is just fantastic. I got to meet his wife this year. And we had a great time just all chatting. I got to hear a lot about the family. I think if I remember, there are 12 kids, him, Devin, the twins, and then there's 10 other siblings. And Darren himself has, I think it's 5 or 6 children. I don't remember now. And there's some boys and there's some girls mixed in there, as there is with his siblings. Okay? So just a little family history there. Now, one of his identical twin brother's son is Laren Thomas, the inventor of MagnaCut. So Darren, who made this knife, is Laren Thomas's uncle. Okay? So it's a big family knife industry family affair. Where was I going with all that? I don't know. It's a fantastic knife. Darren is a talker. I don't know the whole history, and I'm not going to share the whole history because I'll get it wrong, even though I spent several hours with him at Blade Show West this year, just hearing all about the family, how they got into the industry and all of that good stuff. But he is very excited about coming on the EDC Hour one day soon. And we're going to let him talk about the family drama, not the family drama, sorry. I was thinking about other family. But to talk about the family and how the family got into knife making and how he got into it and all that. So I'm going to save that for when we have him on my live stream. So if you guys are not familiar with the EDC Hour, it's every other Sunday, usually, 5 o'clock Pacific. We go live. Sometimes it's just me and Alex, my co-host. Sometimes it is me, Alex, and a guest. And then all the people in the chat, we chat for an hour to an hour and a half. And then we let everybody go back about their day. So it's a fun time. We get a lot of good information. We've had some good makers on there. Darren is going to be just a fun time to have on the show because he's just really a genuine, humble, down-to-earth guy that makes me want to buy a knife from him. And he was almost soft-selling me. He didn't want me to feel pressured to buy the knife. He goes, "Oh, I know it's not really your style, and you carry these bigger things, and you know, you don't feel like you have to buy it." I'm like, "No, I really do like it very much. Sometimes I want something small and more gentlemanly carry. This at 11 something ounces, I think, 4¼ inch blade is big. It's weighty. It weighs me down, but I'm committed now. I'm at day 305. I'm committed to 366 days to cover an entire year plus a leap year. So I'm doing a 366 challenge. I'm going to do a video after the fact and talk about my experience, which there is some experiences to glean from carrying the same knife for an entire year. And I'm excited because as soon as I'm done with carrying this one, who also used the same blade steel for the bolsters and the pocket clip. So that's why I kind of go back to that because I've seen it done before and it's kind of cool. I don't know what I'm going to carry. It's either going to be this right after I'm done with the King Battle or my Stan Wilson non-flipper flipper. Probably going to be this though, because I'm going to try to send my non-flipper flipper in to Stan to have spa treatment and kind of go through it because it's just the action's a little It needs a little tune-up. So, all right, a couple of quick size comparisons with our normal usual suspects, the Sharpie and the Spyderco Delica, and we'll leave it at that. So, yeah, check out Darren on Instagram. I will put a link to his Instagram down below for sure. Fantastic guy. He will talk to you about anything and everything at a show. And, yeah, I cannot wait until next Blade Show, 2025. Where I can spend some more time with him at his booth and walking around the show with him because he's just a wonderful human being with a vast array of knowledge and just really a good guy to sit and talk with. So, yeah, thanks for all your time, Darren. I greatly appreciate it. Go check him out. And thanks for watching. As always, I really appreciate everybody watching. If you made it this far, comment EDC Hour down below. And let me know if you watch or not.